Hello, my name is Daniel Scuria-Herman, and today I will be speaking on the topic of safety. Now, I recently made a video on the topic of privacy, which a bunch of you guys seem to like. When I had initially made note of privacy on my list of topics, I put safety right after it, because I feel like they go hand in hand, and at the same time, they're distinct enough to where they merit their own separate videos, so that's what I'm gonna do, obviously. I had touched on this a couple of times in the last video, the idea of what safety truly is. When it comes down to it, my perception of safety is the ability and rather freedom one can find in choice. Without choice, one cannot feel truly safe. This means the choice to calm concerns of yours, but also the choice to do what you want. When people feel cornered, they lose any sense of safety they'd held on to. And of course, there's a lot of overlap between privacy and safety. With my examples from the last video, physical security like locking your doors can make one feel safe in one's own home. And the same can be said about cybersecurity and installing sort of like protections online. However, while privacy is far more set in its definition, at least in my interpretation of it, safety is much more malleable as a term. In fact, some people's ideas of safety could run contrary to everything I just said. For example, this pillar of choice that I keep building my argument on can come crashing down. For some people, too much choice can lead to a feeling of overwhelmment, which in turn could make them feel ridiculously unsafe. And I can speak to this because I myself am one of those people. In freshman year of college, most kids are thrust into a wholly new and unexpected form of education. Now, no one's holding your hand, and you have to do everything for yourself. Live on your own or with others your own age, and pick your own schedule out. For the vast majority of students, they were glad to receive this privilege, and most of the student body did in fact receive it. Except one major that I know of. There may be one or two that got this treatment as well. Writing majors, like myself. You see, every freshman writing major takes the same 5 classes, and while other majors would normally get the option of taking a 6th, us writers don't get that choice because our studio class costs an extra credit, meaning we can't reach maximum capacity any longer. Essentially, complexity aside, my major's classes were decided for me for the entire first semester, and I was pleased at this when most nearly anyone would have thought that I would be displeased. I was glad to have this choice taken off my hands so I could worry about other, more important things like this giant transitory or transitionary, is transitionary a word? Phase and everything else that came with it besides the classes. That's not to say I don't want to choose anything. I choose what meals I'd have, how I budget my time, and what I'd write about, and was only able to feel safe in those choices because of the safety of lack of choice. I know that doesn't work for everyone, and that's fine, but that's how it worked for me. And that's one of the largest takeaways of this whole discussion on safety. Only you can say what safety means for you. Some men find more comfort on a battlefield than in a hospital, and some would feel safer in a hectic kitchen than in a spa. But at the end of the day, choice is intimately intertwined with safety. It can't exist without it. To accomplish this safety, you must have, first, the freedom of choice, even if that means the freedom not to choose. Which is why currently a lot of populations of America feel unsafe, because a lot of things are being decided for them and they feel like they live in a time where their words and desires don't matter. Which is why in recent years people still want to lock their doors, and more so than they did in previous years. If they can't control the things larger than themselves, they'll religiously protect the limited number of things they have under their control. I do not feel safe. That's not like a big revelation for me to say here. I feel like a lot of people my age don't. Safety to me means self-sufficiency most of all, and I don't have that yet. In fact, I felt safer when I was in rougher situations of my life, which I won't get into detail here just to keep the mood light, simply because more things are out of my control and therefore were not things I had to worry about. But part of safety is knowing what you want and working to achieve it, which is a process, of course. It's about control. It's about choice. It's about you and who you are. What I had to say for this one is pretty straightforward. If you want something more in depth about this idea of keeping oneself safe, check out on the topic of privacy. But that's all from me. So until next time, adieu.